Hey, sleepy friends. Happy new comic book day. Got a lot of comic books today. 11 comic books from this week. And I didn't even get any of all the amazing looking new Marvel comics. Still holding out on Marvel. 11 new comics today, plus 2 from last week that I didn't pick up last week that I decided I couldn't do without. It's kind of the burden of thinking comics are so great right now and not wanting to miss out, I guess. It's funny, when I was at the comic book store this past weekend and picking out my 50-cent books, I overheard someone talking about, I support her books, I don't support those books. It's funny how we talk about supporting books, which kind of ties in with my feeling whenever I buy a more expensive book that somehow it's kind of charity. Anyway, just feeling weird today about supporting books, about being this kind of consumer who has to work a little bit at it is kind of a weird feeling. Like, I guess it's because, when I go to my comic book shop, I have to check that I got the right cover, because I have a pull list. I have to check that I got the right cover. I have to check that they gave me the right comics. I have to go look for comics they forgot to put on my pull. This time I had to kind of apologetically give them back the trade of the Surface. I don't know what the trade of the Surface was doing in my pile. And it's fine, mistakes are made, but it's this weird feeling of I was letting them down, or I'm letting down the creators of the Surface. I've actually am reading the Surface digitally, in fact, so I'm giving the creators some money, but not my comic book shop. But yeah, because the guy who normally doesn't like me, handed me the stack and started talking about how great the Surface was and how glad he was I was getting it, and then I'm turning it back. Anyway, I don't know. I think I had a really long day at work, and it just felt weird to have to deal with going to the comic book store, and yet I was anxious not to miss out on certain books and all of that. So anyway, I got We Stand on Guard, number 5, which has a beautiful cover. Even though I don't love this book, I am looking forward to seeing what will happen next and enjoying reading it a lot. Another beautiful cover, actually, 18 Days. I can't remember the name of this character on the cover, but I do think he is like the teacher of the warriors on one side, but now he's on the other side. Maybe 18 Days will start to pick up and have more battle, and maybe I'll start connecting to the characters at the same time. I'm actually pretty psyched for Saints number 2. I liked the first issue, but the coloring was terrible. Will the coloring be better? Will anyone else buy this? Will anyone else support this comic? It's only $2.99, but I don't know if anyone's supporting it, so it may be gone soon. We'll see. Awesome cover. Another awesome cover. Scooby-Doo team up with, it looks like, the top supernatural stars of the DC universe. All 3 of my favorites. Spectre, Deadman, and the Phantom Stranger with his groovy turtleneck. My daughter will immediately notice they do not have Daphne and Velma on the cover, which is always a worry for her. Black Science is back. This is one that was not in my pull, although it should have been. Luckily, I saw it there and I got it. This cover's awesome. Did I get another thing I have to worry about is, did I get the right cover? Maybe I mentioned that before. Often I particularly want to have the A cover, unless there's some special reason otherwise. Another awesome cover. Yeah, I can't believe Black Science is on number 17. It's gone by so quickly. They're kind of now giving this arc a name, Godworld Part 1 of 5, perhaps to help people jump back on it. Hellboy and the BPRD. This is one of the ones I picked up from last week. And I guess it has 2 standalone stories, which made me more interested in getting it. It's funny, after a while, these Mignola Hellboy covers all kind of look alike. So, of the covers so far, that's the least exciting. interesting but hard to parse cover from Exodus: The Life After. So they have kind of rebooted The Life After, which was definitely one of my favorite indie comics, probably, when it's coming out, in my top 5 for the month, top 3 for the month, maybe even. The cumulative effect of it is bigger than the effect of any individual issue, though. So I assume this will just continue our story, even though it's kind of been rebranded and a new number 1. We'll see. Joshua Hale Fialkoff and Gabo, whose art I have come to appreciate a lot. And I see 2 of the giant bunny gods at the bottom there, so that's pretty awesome. Detective Comics, Blood on Blood. Don't know what that means. A very shiny version of the Robo Batman. I liked last issue by Tomasi. Some people, like a Ghost Critic and Joshua Hayes, we're not that crazy about it, but I'm looking forward to see what Tomasi will do next. And Tomasi again, crazy looking cover. Batman Arkham Knight number 10. When this first came out, I assumed it was a 6 or 8 issue series, but it just keeps going and going. So we'll see where that's going. I'm kind of dreading this issue, Batman and Robin Eternal number 5, because I really thought last issue was a bit of a stinker. And it's written and drawn by the same team as last week. So we're going to have up and down weeks. And, maybe since my expectations are so low, and maybe this issue will be a lot better than last issue, even though it's the same creators. Here's one I wanted to make sure not to miss. Monstrous by Marjorie Liu and Sana Takeda. It's steampunk, which I'm kind of meh on steampunk, but it's a woman who is mentally connected to giant monsters, to kaiju, and that sounds awesome to me. So I'm pretty excited for that. It's a super thick $5 issue, and then I think it's going to go down to $3.50 on a regular basis. So I'm hoping I'll love this issue. We'll see. This issue will probably decide whether I put it on my pull list or not. And then we've got Paper Girls. I kind of noticed after thinking about it that the last Paper Girls cover looked kind of paper flat, like the Paper Girls are made out of paper. And I sort of feel that way here too, although the Sony Walkman pops out nicely there. I guess, is that one playing cassettes? I guess in the late 80s, isn't this like 1988 or something? I think more people would be doing CDs, or maybe people are still doing cassettes. I was certainly doing cassettes until maybe could that be right? Mid-90s? Yeesh, I was a real holdout. Mostly because my car had a cassette player, and I love to listen to music in my car. And then the other one that I got from last week, I completely did not see it last week, was Godzilla in Hell, which if I were smart, I'd be waiting for trade on, but I bought one issue, and then I couldn't resist the next and the next, so I might as well just keep going at this point. Issue number 4. I assume this is a 6-issue or 8-issue thing also, but I don't know for sure. So those are my many books to read. Now, I'm an obsessive, and maybe that's why I'm buying so many comics. And when I start thinking about something, I'm a bit like a dog with a bone. And actually, here was a free sample of Neon Joe Werewolf Hunter from DC Comics. Is it a TV show? I don't know. I don't know enough about TV. They're calling it issue number 1. Doesn't even say on it it's free, but my comic book store is giving it out for free, and clearly it's just a little sampler. So I'll see what that's about. Anyway, I was saying that I'm like a dog with a bone, although obviously I'm very scatterbrained also. But so I keep thinking about binding on hardcover books. There was a little more chitter-chatter about it with people on Twitter, and the often astute Mr. The Gaunt Man, Travis, Yeah, he's got so many names, and probably best known as. Oh man, I've suddenly forgotten his YouTube name. Oddfellow Thoughts. Oddfellow Thoughts. Travis asked me how the binding on my beloved planetary hardcover, which was out from DC. If you don't know what I'm talking about, one of my 2 videos ago, I was looking at some very disappointing hardcovers in terms of their binding and the gutter loss and the layout of some of the pages were. So I was complaining about that on a video. And so anyway, Travis asked me how the Planetary Omnibus was. And this was originally not a DC comic, but DC bought Wildstorm from the sellout Jim Lee, who loves, I guess, to be part of a corporation after all. And so anyway, this brilliant book, Planetary, was released in this very fat omnibus. There's previously a 2-volume Absolute Edition, I believe. Or was it a 1-volume Absolute Edition, but with a little less material. Anyway, it looks, I mean, the binding in this is definitely sewn binding. It's pretty good. You've got that gap there. It feels like you can see all the way down into the cracks of it. If there were a lot of 2-page spreads here, they would feel a little weird because of these very steep hills, which must be inevitable in any kind of omnibus. So it feels like they did a better job with Planetary than they did with the graphic ink, and most definitely a better job than they did with that Jack Kirby. Well, here's a double-page spread, and we do kind of lose a bit there. Maybe after a certain thickness, there's no way a book can lay flat. So it's pretty good binding, but, you know, I suppose it's still superior to own these in single issues. And it's not like it's expensive to get these single issues. But they aren't as big. I do like big. So there perhaps is my dilemma. I like these oversized. Let me see if I can find my way back. I like these oversized volumes. It's just bigger is better. That's what I tell my wife about her behind, but she doesn't believe me. I didn't really say that. So while I'm at it, I thought I'd look at one of my Marvel omnibuses, the Fantastic Four, the classic Jack Kirby, Stan Lee run. This binding looks even better, and it does lay a bit flatter. It's not as thick of a book. So yeah, I think Marvel does win even in these omnibuses, even though that Planetary one was not bad. Because I don't think I pulled it out, but I have an omnibus of, what's it called? The Darwin Cook's most famous series. Boy, I'm really tired from work today. Darwin Cook's most famous series, New Frontier. And that one had a glued binding, which was quite shocking. So yeah, Marvel's reputation for the best binding, between Marvel and DC anyway, holds up. Here's another DC one. This is a deluxe edition of Tom Strong. Yeah, the binding is tighter there. It is, I think it's a sewn binding, or it might be one of those modified glued bindings. I'm not sure, because I'm not an expert on the binding. There's not that nice gap between the hard board and the bounding part. But this is still like way better than the treatment the Jack Kirby books got. This, again, is originally a Wildstorm book, now published by DC, and it actually is marked a Wildstorm book. So that's interesting, I guess. Here is the awesome deluxe Sixth Gun, Volume 1. And does it lay flat? It kinda, no. It's a beautiful book, but I don't think its binding is quite as good as the Marvel binding, at least if you judge binding by the lay flat factor. Here's a double page panel, and you do kind of get a little bit of a wavy gravy effect on there where you're not fully seeing it. Again, nothing compared, mostly it's fine because the gutter is way out there. It's a pretty nicely designed book. Well, that's just script anyway. So yeah, if you love two-page spreads and you're reading comics full of two-page spreads, the trades are a pretty dangerous way to go. I wish I had a Marvel omnibus with two-page spread kind of art, but all of my Marvel omnibuses are of very old comics, so you don't get double-page spreads. Here is, I haven't read this yet, but I bought it basically because of Christian Ward. Infinite Vacation from Image. It seems to have a similar binding to that Tom Strong book. What looks kind of like it's sewn and a bit tight. So this double page spread is not too bad actually. Partially I think when it's a thinner book. But look there, we do feel a little bit of loss in the gutter there. Ooh, what a yummy picture. Okay, well I'm gnawing on this bone like a dog. Speaking of animals, here's my Animal Man omnibus, which again is not sewn, so that's good. There's a pretty good gap there. It's so thick it can't really lay flat, but the Marvel one, the Marvel Fantastic Four one, lay much flatter than this. So I think Marvel still wins, although again this is not horrible compared to the ones I was looking at the other day. And it serves the art okay because we don't get many. This is probably as close as you get to a double page spread, and you can see the stuff in the middle there. You can see pretty clearly. Again, it would be a bit better in the original issues, but smaller. I do like the paper in this one. I had some comments from Red Vitamin Blue, and he prefers retro newsprint paper. Sometimes the paper is too shiny. This seems to be a medium gloss, and that's quite good. I like the matte paper in the Sixth Gun volume quite a bit. It's not glossy at all, but it's very high quality paper. You don't feel like it's gonna fall apart on you anytime soon. It's not too thick, but it's not too thin. Okay, here's one a book given to me by Gore Vidal, the famous author. It's got kind of a tight binding, but it seems to lay flat, pretty flat. It's from, oh there you go, now I've got it in the middle, you can see the binding arching up that way, it lays pretty flat. If in these old Steve Ditko books there had ever been a double page spread, I think it would look pretty good. That is Fantagraphics. I don't think I pulled out a Dark Horse book. Dark Horse has a very good reputation, so I should have looked at that. But my last one is from Titan Comics, British comic book company. This lays pretty close to flat. I wouldn't mind it to be even better. There are a lot of double spreads in this Philippe Droulier thing. You can see the picture pretty well there. It's like it doesn't quite lay as flat as the Marvel one. There's a little tightness in there, but I think that's very good binding. And a little bit of discontinuity towards the middle. Yeah, so thanks for joining me in my obsessing. I can't believe I turned a haul video into a 20-minute video. So, I hope everyone got some awesome comics this week, or will be getting some awesome comics on the weekend, and I look forward to all of your videos. Talk to you later.